Right. So I want you to picture a really specific Friday night. You've had an incredibly long week. You're tired, and you end up in that little spot around the corner.
Yeah, we all know the one.
Right. The air is warm. It smells absolutely incredible inside, like lime leaves and chili and coconut milk. You're tearing into a spring roll, maybe laughing with a couple of friends. And then, almost out of nowhere, someone at the table stops chewing, looks around, and says, we should really go to Thailand one day.
And that exact scene plays out thousands of times every single night, from London to Los Angeles to Sydney.
And to us sitting at that table, it feels totally spontaneous, right? It feels like this random organic thought sparked by a really decent chicken satay. But what if I told you that moment, that specific desire to book a plane ticket wasn't accidental at all?
I'd say you're making my takeout order sound like a covert operation.
Well, not a conspiracy, but definitely a strategy. Because it turns out that restaurant isn't just a place to get dinner. It is a highly intentional, government-funded diplomatic outpost designed to basically hack your brain.
Hack might be a strong word, but you're not wrong. What we are really talking about here is gastrodiplomacy.
Which is, I have to say, just a top-tier vocabulary word.
It is a great term. But specifically for today's deep dive, we are unpacking the Global Thai Program. This was launched in 2002, and it is the absolute gold standard of using food as influence.
Right, so let's get into this. Our mission for this deep dive is to deconstruct exactly how this works. We're going to look at the strategy, the techniques, and the methods used to persuade you seamlessly to visit Thailand just by eating a meal. Because looking at the sources we've gathered, this is a brilliant use of soft power.
Exactly. It's replacing a traditional, expensive advertising campaign with something much more visceral.
So set the stage for us. When you say government program, are we talking about like a few pamphlets at a tourism board office?
No, we are talking about a massive, coordinated economic policy. Back in 2002, the Thai government essentially looked at the world map and realized they have this unique superpower. People just love their food. At the time, there were, I think, about 5,500 Thai restaurants worldwide.
Okay.
And the government set a strict target. They wanted to boost that number to 8,000, then 10,000, and eventually way beyond that. They effectively decided to become the world's kitchen.
But how do you actually do that? Government can't just, wave a magic wand and open a restaurant in Chicago.
They can if they make it incredibly easy for people to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And this is the part that usually blows people's minds when we dive into the source material. They didn't just encourage people to open restaurants, they engineered the whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah, they offered special loan packages for Thai nationals opening restaurants abroad. They set up specific training programs for chefs so that they knew how to cook to an international standard. They even created, and this is wild, prototype restaurant plans.
Wait, like a restaurant in a box?
Exactly like that. They had different tiers. You had the elephant jump model, which was for a fast casual spot, the cool basil model for mid-range, and the golden leaf for high-end dining. They provided the blueprints, the aesthetic guides, even advice on where to source your ingredients.
That is just brilliant. So they were essentially franchising their national identity.
In a way, yes. And the goal wasn't just to sell rice and exports, though that was a big part of the economic side. The primary goal was soft power.
Let's pause on that term. We hear soft power a lot in the news, but break it down for us in the context of this strategy.
Sure. So hard power is military force or economic sanctions. It's coercion. You are forcing someone to do something. Soft power is cultural persuasion. It's making people want what you want.
Ah, okay.
The Thai government understood a really fundamental truth about human psychology. It is very, very hard to be angry at a country or afraid of a country when you absolutely love their soup.
That makes total sense. It's pretty hard to harbor geopolitical tension with the place that gave the world mango sticky rice.
Precisely. A restaurant is this apolitical, completely immersive gateway. When you walk in, you aren't being preached to about foreign policy. You're just hungry. Your defenses are completely down. And that is exactly where the influence begins.
So let's walk through that influence. I want us to take the listener through a meal from the sidewalk to paying the bill and decode these psychological techniques at play, because this really is a masterclass in behavioral science. Let's start right at the arrival. You're walking down a gray, rainy street. Maybe it's a Tuesday. And you see the sign for the Thai place. What is happening psychologically right there?
Well, think about what you usually see. It's very distinct. You've got that warm lighting, usually amber or gold. You've got carved wood, maybe some orchids in the window. And almost always, the name is in a font that mimics Thai script, or it includes the actual Thai characters.
Yeah, it definitely stands out from the burger joint or the sterile pizza place right next door.
And that's the first mechanism at work. It's a concept called mental transportation. Even before you open the door, the exterior decor is designed to signal a shift in reality. It's telling your brain, hey, out there it might be a miserable Tuesday in Manchester, but right here, it is warm.
But I've always wondered, why do they all look kind of similar? I mean, isn't that risking being a bit cliche?
You might think so, but your brain actually loves it. This touches on something called cognitive friction.
Cognitive friction sounds like a frenetic.
It can be. Basically, our brains are constantly scanning and processing the environment, looking for patterns that make sense. If you saw a sign that said Royal Thai Palace, but the building looked like a, I don't know, a sterile dentist's office with bright fluorescent lights and linoleum floors, your brain would snag on that.
It would feel completely off. I'd be thinking, am I in the right place? Is this food even going to be safe to eat?
Exactly. That mismatch creates cognitive friction. It requires mental energy to process why things don't add up.
Oh.
But when the lighting, the natural materials, and the font all align perfectly with your pre-existing mental model of what Thailand is, it reduces that friction to zero.
It tells your brain to just relax.
Right. It says, this experience is intentional. You are in good hands here.
It's almost like a visual handshake. It's your first introduction to the nation right there on the sidewalk.
That's a great way to put it. And the Global Thai program actually pushed heavily for this brand consistency. Their strategy was to create spaces that were authentic yet familiar.
Authentic yet familiar, that sounds like a complete marketing paradox.
It's a tough balance, but it's the absolute sweet spot. The exterior needs to be distinctive enough to clearly be Thai, but welcoming enough to lower the barrier to entry for someone who maybe hasn't traveled there. If it looked too foreign, maybe too dark or chaotic, a Western diner might just walk right past. It creates too much risk.
Right, but if it looks too generic, like a fast food chain, it has no soul. It loses the magic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the carved wood and the warm lanterns are basically saying, this is exotic, but it's safe. Come on in.
Okay, so the lantern works. You open the door and cross the threshold. And this is where the real magic starts, because now we're moving from just a visual experience to a multisensory one.
The smell.
The smell hits you instantly.
Lemongrass, galangal, coconut milk, toasting chili.
And it's usually not just a generic food smell. It's deeply specific to that cuisine.
And that specific aroma is doing a lot more heavy lifting than you realize. Smell is totally unique among our senses because of how it's wired into the brain.
Okay, here comes the science part.
Just a little bit, but stick with me here. Most of your senses, sight, sound, touch, get routed through a part of the brain called the thalamus. Think of the thalamus as like a switchboard operator or a logical gatekeeper. It takes the information in, analyzes it, and then sends it to the rest of the brain to react.
So if I see a chair, my thalamus says, yep, that is a chair, and then my brain tells me I can sit down.
Roughly, yes. But smell. Smell gets a VIP pass. It bypasses the thalamus almost entirely and connects directly to the olfactory bulb. And the olfactory bulb is hardwired straight into the amygdala and the hippocampus.
You are throwing a lot of anatomy at me right now. What does that actually mean for me standing in the doorway of the restaurant?
Well, the amygdala handles your emotions, and the hippocampus handles your memories. Because smell skips the logical gatekeeper, it triggers an emotional response before you can even consciously form a thought about it.
Wait, really? So before I even have the thought, oh, wow, that smells like green curry, my brain is already feeling something.
Exactly. Your nervous system is reacting before your logic even boots up. The smell of warm spices and coconut triggers this deep biological response of comfort and, obviously, hunger. You physically settle down. You associate this environment with safety and pleasure immediately.
That is wild. It's essentially a biological shortcut to the feeling center of the brain.
It is. And that's what we call the nonverbal effect. You aren't reading a brochure about how welcoming Thailand is. You are physically feeling it in your body.
And the brilliance of it is that you don't feel manipulated. Unlike watching a political speech or getting served a targeted tourism ad on your phone, a smell doesn't have an agenda.
Right. You don't put your guard up against an aroma.
Okay, so you're inside, your nervous system is happy, and then someone approaches you. The greeting, which is usually pretty consistent too. You get the smile, the slight bow, and the way, the hands pressed together.
And usually accompanied by a very soft, polite greeting.
Now, obviously, that's just good customer service, but based on our research into this strategy, there's more to it, isn't there?
There is deep psychology in a greeting. As humans, we instinctively link people to places. If the person standing in front of us is warm, respectful, and calm, Our brain effectively decides that the country they represent must also be warm, respectful, and calm.
It's a heuristic,
Yeah,
a mental shortcut.
precisely. And it triggers the principle of reciprocity. Think about it this way. If you're walking into a viewing and a stranger holds the door open for you and gives you a genuine smile, what do?
I smile back. I say thank you. I feel, I don't know, obliging.
You can't help it. It's a deeply ingrained social reflex. When we are treated with genuine respect, which the way signifies so beautifully, we instinctively want to respond positively. We become more open to the whole experience. We basically become better, more receptive customers.
And I remember reading in the sources that the government program actually included training standards for this, right? Like they wanted to make sure this hospitality was uniform, whether that restaurant was in Paris or Peoria.
Yes. They even introduced certification schemes like the Thai Select Mark. If you see that logo on a window, it means the restaurant has passed a certain threshold of authenticity and service quality. It ensures that the brand of Thailand isn't being diluted by a bad customer experience abroad.
Which deals directly with travel anxiety, doesn't it? I mean, travel is inherently scary for a lot of people.
It's a huge factor.
Yeah.
The biggest barrier to visiting a new continent is just the fear of the unknown. People wonder, will I be welcomed? Will I understand the cultural rules? Will I be safe?
Yeah.
A positive, gentle interaction with a waiter quietly answers all those questions for you. It says, yes, you will be welcomed. It makes the abstract idea of visiting the actual country feel significantly less risky.
Incredible. So we've been greeted. We're sitting down at our table. We look around the room. And we have to talk about the decor again because there are some serious visual tropes happening inside.
Ah, the mental postcard.
Yeah. The Buddha statue on the shelf near the register, the framed photo of the Golden Temple catching the sunset, the painting of the turquoise water with the wooden long-tail boat.
And don't forget the elephants.
Always the elephants. Now, I'll be completely honest. Sometimes I look at that decor and think, okay, this is a bit much. It can feel a little bit like a caricature.
It is a bit of a caricature. But in psychology, this is known as associative priming.
Priming. So, getting us ready for something.
It means building a reference library in your brain through constant repetition. If you go to 5 different Thai restaurants over a year and you see that same picture of the limestone cliffs and the clear blue water, your brain starts to create a solid equation. Thailand equals beauty, plus calm, plus spirituality.
Even though we know, logically, the entire country doesn't look like a luxury resort brochure.
Of course, it's a curated reality. It's a highly polished slice of the nation. But here's exactly why it works. Familiarity breeds affection.
Wait, I thought the saying was familiarity breeds contempt.
Maybe in bad relationships, but in marketing and especially in travel. Familiarity creates safety. By seeing these exotic images repeatedly, but in a safe, warm environment where you're eating delicious food, those images start to feel like they belong to you.
Ah. 6 months later, when I'm scrolling through Expedia on my couch and I see that exact photo of the long-tail boat, my brain doesn't see a stranger. It sees an old friend.
Bingo. Familiarity reduces your uncertainty, and when uncertainty drops, curiosity increases. You aren't taking a terrifying leap into the dark. You're just stepping into a picture you already know and like.
Okay, so the trap is set. The room looks great. We open the menu. And this is something I hadn't even thought about until we looked at the notes for this deep dive. The menu is basically a geography lesson.
It's a map disguised as dinner. You'll notice the names of the dishes very often explicitly tell you where they are from. Chiang Mai sausage, Phuket seafood, Bangkok street noodles.
Is that really intentional?
Absolutely. The dish becomes a proxy for the territory itself. You aren't just choosing a flavor profile for your main course, you are actively sampling a region. If you order and love the Chiang Mai sausage, suddenly Chiang Mai isn't just some random foreign word to you.
Yep.
It's a specific place that your brain now associates with pleasure.
It essentially gives you a roadmap for the trip you haven't even booked yet. Like, well, I really like the food from the north, so maybe we should look at going north.
Exactly. And this brings us right back to that authentic yet familiar balance we talked about earlier. Because this is where people often get skeptical. They ask, is the food really authentic?
Yeah, that's the big criticism you hear. Oh, it's not real Thai food. It's totally watered down for tourists.
And to an extent, it is calibrated. It has to be. If you served true street-level Southern Thai spice to a random diner in Ohio, they wouldn't have a cultural awakening. They'd have a medical emergency.
Right, they'd just be in physical pain. And pain definitely doesn't sell plane tickets.
Exactly. So the global Thai strategy heavily involves calibrating the food for the local market. They moderate the chili levels, they balance the sweetness, they use familiar proteins that Westerners are comfortable with, like chicken or shrimp. But, and this is the absolute key, they keep the defining herbs.
The galangal, the kaffir lime, the lemon basil.
Right, so the core flavor profile is accurate, even if the sheer intensity is dialed way down.
It bridges the gap. It's authentic enough to be credible, so you feel like you're eating something genuinely exotic, but accessible enough to feel safe.
It's the perfect gateway drug for the culture.
So you order the food.
Yep.
And now comes the waiting phase. The restaurant is buzzing around you. You hear the wok sizzling. You see other tables laughing and passing plates.
This is a really crucial phase of the experience. Psychologically, you are currently soaking in social proof.
Which is basically the brain saying, everyone else is doing it, so it must be a good idea.
Right. You are sitting in a room full of people, interacting with Thai culture, eating the food, enjoying the space, and nothing bad is happening. In fact, they look incredibly happy. It is a controlled simulation.
A simulation of the trip itself.
Exactly. It's a low-risk rehearsal. If sitting here waiting for my pad thai feels this exciting and positive, my brain unconsciously learns that waiting for an actual trip to Thailand, the booking, the planning, the anticipation, will also be highly positive. And anticipation releases dopamine.
And then the food finally arrives. And we have to talk about the flavor here. Because let's be real, if the food was bland or bad, absolutely none of this psychological priming would work.
The entire strategy falls apart without a stellar product. But Thai food is uniquely suited for this mission because of its inherent complexity. You have those four pillars hitting you all at once: sweet, sour, salty, spicy.
It's intense. It wakes your whole palate up.
And that intensity actively aids memory encoding. There's a concept in neuroscience called emotional capital. Flavor is encoded in the brain alongside emotion. A bland, boring meal is forgotten instantly. But a sudden burst of lime and chili, that creates a lasting memory trace.
So Thailand is literally building a reservoir of goodwill through my stomach.
And there is a logical leap your brain naturally makes during that meal. It thinks, if this massaman curry is this unbelievably good on a rainy Tuesday in a strip mall, what must it taste like at the source?
If the satellite office is this good, headquarters must be absolutely amazing.
Precisely.
So we're eating, we're happy, the dopamine is flowing, and this is exactly when it happens, the conversation. We're back to the hook. The moment someone at the table puts their fork down and says, we should go there.
This is the critical moment of self-persuasion.
Why is it so much more powerful when I say it versus seeing a giant billboard that just says, visit Thailand?
Because humans naturally trust themselves more than they trust anyone else. If an ad tells you to go somewhere, your brain immediately puts up a defense mechanism. You think, they're trying to sell me something. What's the catch?
But if it's my own idea...
If you voice it, there is zero resistance. You own the thought. The absolute genius of gastrodiplomacy is that the environment, the decor, the smells, the tastes, prime the thought. They made the idea cognitively available to you, but they stepped back and let you say it out loud.
That is essentially the ultimate goal, isn't it? To get Thailand a seat at your dinner table, not through a boring UN speech or a political campaign, but through a shared plate of noodles.
And the data shows it works. Tourism to Thailand absolutely exploded in the years following this initiative. It wasn't the only factor, obviously, but the correlation is undeniable.
Finally, the meal ends. You pay the bill. But the psychology isn't over yet, is it?
Not at all. Now we enter the peak-end rule.
Walk us through that.
It's a Nobel Prize-winning concept by Daniel Kahneman. It states that human beings don't judge experiences by taking an average of every single minute. We judge them entirely by the most intense moment, the peak, and how they end.
So dessert is actually strategic.
Dessert helps tremendously. Mango sticky rice, or that sweet, creamy Thai iced tea. It cools the palate after the spice. It's soft. It feels resolving.
And the exit itself. You get another way, another warm smile, a really polite thank you as you hold the door.
The exit is completely frictionless.
Yeah.
So your brain compresses that entire 2-hour sensory experience into one simple summary tag. That was really good. And because of that soft, sweet ending, the memory is sealed positively in your mind forever.
And the crazy part is, this isn't just happening to you. It's happening in thousands of restaurants to millions of people every single night.
That is the compound effect of gastrodiplomacy. It creates a cumulative, quiet, incredibly powerful reputation for the country. It is soft power at its absolute finest. There is no friction, there's no hard sell, just a beautifully designed experience that leaves you wanting more.
It's pretty amazing when you break it down like this. It's not just dinner, it is a masterclass in influence.
It really is. The source material had this fantastic line, "Memory is the most persuasive souvenir." The restaurant essentially builds the memory for you before you've even bought a plane ticket.
So here's our final thought, a challenge to you, the listener. The next time you go out for Thai food, and let's be honest, you're probably craving it right now, pay close attention.
Look at the lighting. Notice the smell the second you walk in. Feel the warmth of the greeting. See if you can spot that authentic yet familiar balance on the menu.
And when that thought inevitably pops into your head, hey, we should really go there one day, just realize that that isn't just a random whim. That is the invitation doing exactly what it was designed to do. And it makes you wonder, if a restaurant can engineer a desire to travel across the globe just by aligning the lighting, the smell, and a menu, what other choices in your life are being quietly engineered by the environments you walk into every single day?
That is a great question to leave on. And honestly, as far as engineered invitations go, this is a pretty delicious one to accept.
Hard to say no to that. Thanks for diving in with us.
Catch you next time.